welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's specific video, we're going to be talking about and discussing Donald Trump saying on the news that he is now allowing the Pentagon to start doing missile testing. The first time the United States have done this in over 30 years. We're going to talk about that in today's video and what that can mean for the entirety of the United States and the global spirit in its entirety. Now, this video is being recorded on Thursday, October the 30th at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as and when I'm recording this video. So keep in mind this video is just for entertainment and for educational purposes only as well. And if you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engage with the content. Sharing this video with others really helps boost the algorithm here on this YouTube channel. Alright guys, so let's go ahead, let's begin. And yeah, let's go from there, really. And then again, another video, I think, check the live stream playlist or the uploads eventually soon. I'm going to be going live with some Halloween themed videos. So keep that in mind and look out for the live. We're going to separate ourselves from politics for a little bit and do something fun for the spirit of the holiday. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a minute. So, spirits and angels, tell me, what is it that we need to know about Donald Trump telling us from the Pentagon, or telling the Pentagon, that we can now do missile testing in the United States. The first time the United States has done missile testing in over 30 years. So last time I think was 1995. Okay, so the obvious answer that I'm getting from Spirit is they're saying that this is to show military might. This is to show that we're strong, that we're threatened. Now, it's kind of stupid, because here's why. If you put a missile on the West Coast, you're going to trigger an earthquake. If you put a missile in the Gulf Coast, I mean not the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, you put a missile there, you're going to trigger a realignment along the Mississippi River where there is an underground fault line that has not been noticed by scientists but will emerge if it gets triggered by such enough seismic activity with the missile. It could break up the what's it called, the Mississippi River and divide the whole nation under a fracture line. The only area that he can theoretically do would be on the East Coast, which is very dangerous in itself because we have two weather systems. Imagine radiation from these missiles hurling towards you with an earthquake, with a hurricane, for example, or a cyclone, or tornadoes, something like that. That's dangerous to begin with. But Donald Trump realizes that he doesn't care. He doesn't. And so the missile testing here, when I get it from Spirit, this is what Spirit is saying that this is being used as a way to threaten other countries by showing military force. In an unilateral perspective is the word that they're using. What we have here is we have the Six of Wands. And the Six of Wands means victory. You're thinking you're going to be victorious with this, but this is really not a victorious pattern. Now, a lot of dictators, one thing they tend to do is they tend to do military testing. It's to show a form of threat. It's like a chihuahua barking at somebody who's like 6'4", and the chihuahua is only like a foot long. A big difference in terms of height and in terms of threat level, but yet the small dog believes that he is more of a threat to the big dog, or the big individual is 6'4". I'm just using a reference or an understanding to help you guys understand what I'm trying to say. The Six of Wands is telling me that. It's telling me that it's the fact that when dictators or leaders use military, specifically missiles, they use them to threaten other countries to say, do not come after us, we're going to attack you. Now, the reason for this is as well, there's also a preparation for war, which means that if you have already watched my Venezuela video, which I'll put in a link in the description below and at the end of the video, I talked about how Donald Trump was going to try to get ready for war. Right? And so the war will be with Venezuela. Now, the problem is, like I said, there's an underground fault line within the Mississippi River. If he triggers or tries to blow up any aspect of where the Gulf of Mexico is, which if you don't know where Venezuela is, it's close to the Gulf of Mexico. It's a little bit off, but it's within that circle or realm. Better yet, if you don't really know where Cuba is, straight down from Cuba. That's where Venezuela is, for better reference. Anyway, that's why the Six of Wands is coming here. Now, here's the problem with the Six of Wands. The problem that a lot of these dictators do is they waste a lot of weaponry. So by the time the war actually starts, they have a lot less weapons. Imagine yourself just holding onto your weapons, not showing your mighty force to everybody. Then you can be able to hold on to your power. You're able to hold on to it. You're able to harness that. But unfortunately, dictators don't care. And that's why they tend to not hold on to power. It's only all dictators, all leadership, authoritarian leadership, only can contain control for a very short period, never a long duration. Because when you don't have empathy, when you don't care, when you waste things, and have your ego derail everything else, you have a tendency to lose. Dictators lose. So will Donald Trump. We have the Magician card. The Magician card, again, is indicated at mighty force. He said, you cannot threaten me. This is like Donald Trump taking the missile, and I'm seeing him take that missile and jab it right into the table. With full force. Donald Trump is going to use this as full force. It's a threat. This is what this is. It's a threat. Now, the next card is we have followed by the Seven of Wands here. It's showing resistance. It's showing a potential for an attack. So what it is no longer an imagination of what can the United States be capable of. You can now see it in reality. You can now see what the weaponry of the United States arsenal can do to a nation. But instead, you'll see it in the water. You'll see the destruction in the water. And the hope is to derail or to allow the country to declare defeat before anybody even stepped onto the water, or onto the shore. That's what they're hoping for. Here you have the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles means it's not going to work out as planned. I do feel like there is going to be a truce or a compromise made, but it's going to fail. So what does this mean? It tells me here that Donald Trump is going to do a missile testing. It's going to threaten the nation. He's going to try to use it as full force, right? It's supposed to scare off whoever it is that he's attacking. They go into a peace treaty, but it fails. That's what I'm getting. We have the Page of Wands. We have new opportunity, new leader, new progression. That's the bottom of the deck. The top of the deck here means wishful thinking. What does it tell us? It tells us this is not all what it seems. This is what the Page of Cups is indicating. Wishful thinking. Alright, so now that we understand the concept of why he's doing the military testing, the missile testing, we're going to take a look and see what is the effects globally of this. What is the effects globally, Spirit? What is the side effect globally of Donald Trump doing missile testing in the United States again? The first time since 1995, 1996. The last time we did it was under Bill Clinton. Just for reference here. You know, it's interesting because the way the cards are coming is, do you guys remember how in 1990s, specifically 1991, the Soviet Union fell? Well, in this card, it's saying that the same perspective that the Americans saw with the collapse of the Soviet Union will be how the rest of the world will see the United States. This will be the start of the collapse of the United States. Now, we've said this many times, the United States is already underway, it's collapsing, but worldwide, they haven't acknowledged that quite yet. But they will. They will see. This will be one of the big red flags that go off in a lot of people's head. We have here globally, this is the Four of Pentacles. This means instability. This represents people realizing that the president actually doesn't have any power. The president is losing power. And that's why dictators resort to using military or missile testing to not only threaten other people outside the country, but also threaten people from within. This is to hold on to power. So the first thing that is going to be on a lot of people's minds around the world is that this is the first indicator that the U.S. is losing power. The next one is the world. The world is upside down. We enter into a very unparalleled reality where there's a sense of uncertainty. There's a sense of unpredictability. We don't really know where the world is heading, if there will be a world tomorrow. That's really what it feels like. It feels like people are on edge around the world because they don't know if Donald Trump is going to go rogue with these missiles. Could imagine, for example, for 1 minute that you have somebody who was chaotic and is unpredictable already go into the White House. Now you don't really know how they're going to be perceived. Now, remember, the world already knows Vladimir Putin. They already know. They know who they're dealing with. But when to Donald Trump is drastically different from 45 to 47. Drastically different. So Donald Trump in this day and age is unpredictable. He's unreliable. They don't know how he's going to act because remember, he's acting very differently than he did when he was 45. So the next card here is the Page of Cups, which means wishful thinking, fantasy. It could be simply saying to all of us that this idea that there is a sense of urgency, there's a sense of unpredictability that the world could be tomorrow, could be a sense of fantasy as well. Or maybe the idea that the world is not going to be upside down, everything's going to be okay, could also include under the umbrella or the term of possible fantasy. Now, we start to get into the three Pentagon reverse. We do have here attempts by many nations to try to stop the United States. I do feel like there's an attempt to quell or to crush the United States' efforts to become radicalized, to become unpredictable. So definitely expect a lot of nations to come together as the anti-American Union, where they're going to go up against the United States and try to restrict. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to treat the United States as the way that the United States has treated the Middle East. The Middle Eastern region, the unstable region, the South American region. How they treat it will be how the world responds to the United States. Now we do have here as well as we have the Six of Cups. This means the future. This means the past. Yeah, because this means the past. The way the world worked in the past will be a symbolic message of how it's going to work in the future under Donald Trump. They're going to bring back what worked. So look toward the Soviet Union. How did the world respond when the Soviet Union was at its height, when it's at its power? The United States will be now seen around the world globally as the enemy of the global agenda, as the enemy of all people living on Earth. That's the proper message in here. Not the enemy of the global agenda. That's not correct. It's the enemy of global peace. He's the enemy of people living here on this planet Earth. He's going to unite nations like never before. Donald Trump is a very unique figure in our time period. Donald Trump represents something unique. And when I say that, I mean that very seriously. Donald Trump represents something unique. Not only is he the divider, he's also a uniter. He just doesn't unite people under his message. He divides them to the point where they become united against him. Donald Trump is a very unique figure in our history, in our globe, around the world. And I do see that here. I do see many nations coming together in an effort to oppose the United States and its authoritarian tactics and its dictatorial tactics and its ability for it to create instability around the globe. I do feel like there's going to be a unifying effort, a realignment around the globe against the United States, something that we haven't seen before. It was a long time coming. It was going to get to this point eventually. Donald Trump has just sped that process up drastically. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look about what kind of effect would these missiles have on the United States and America as a whole, specifically Americans. What kind of effect would the missiles have on the United States and the American people within the United States with the missile testing? The first time it happened since 1996 under Donald Trump's presidency. A lot of cards wanted to come out once I said Donald Trump. Okay, so the first card is the 10 of Wands here. This is struggle. So I do feel like Americans are going to be struggling. I do feel like there's going to be a lot of economic crisis. Remember I talked about how the globe is going to respond similar to how it responded with the Soviet Union? Expect that similar behavior to pick up. Now, remember economic extension, maybe possibility, the United States could experience economic extinction around the world, including China and all the other countries, to force the United States to unilaterally become defeated, to step down, to back up. This is the 10 of Wands. I do think the American people are going to go into a phase of mass suffering. And it's going to be the process of a realignment, not only around the world, but also realignment within the United States entirety. Life is going to get hard. But that's not something that is out of the blue. If you've been following me for a very long time, and you've been here been with me since the very beginning, I spoke about how the United States around me get closer to the 2030s, we start to enter a period of a Great Depression. We're getting closer to a Great Depression. Whether you want to acknowledge that now, or you want to acknowledge that in a few years, regardless, everything remains the same. The economy is going to crash, so is the stock market by the time it reaches 2030s. So keep that in mind. And that's why it's up to you to start preparing now. Like I have my I have my giant bag of seeds. I've been collecting seeds. If I go to Dollar Tree, get a whole bunch of seeds. I go to other stores, buy them in bulk, and I just store them. Or I have plants in the backyard. I have fruit trees and stuff like that. There are many ways that you can prepare. The moment is to prepare now because we will be hungry in a couple of years from now. Prepare now. This is your time. But it would have been better for you to prepare a lot earlier because things were a lot cheaper. But then again, things are going to become more expensive in the future. So keep that in mind when you decide to prepare. Now, when we go back into the United States, we have the Emperor card reversed. This is interesting because it means to dethrone the president. This is going to create instability. Remember, when you create instability around the world responds by creating instability within your own home region. The best way to take out somebody to stop a rogue country from going rogue is to force the people to actually stand up. And by doing that is by creating the conditions where there is a fine line between hunger and anger. What you have to do is essentially, in order to get people to rise up against his own government, is to create that fine line of anger and hunger. And when those two meet together, they create a unilateral anger proposition to force the president out, to force the leader within that nation out. And that is the tension. By creating instability at home, it makes the leader look weak. The star card here is trying to indicate to me, it's trying to create that instability. Now remember, this woman here is pouring more water into this already full pool of water. Okay, excuse me. You see this woman here. She's pouring a lot more water into this lake, which has a lot of water. But here you see the cup. There's less water and not a lake. And it's just going right back into the pool. It's that illusionment of recycle. It's that illusionment. What does this mean here? It means that while they're telling us this is what's really going on. The social services are draining out, and it's going into the military and back again. Right? The circle of life. But it's going to be halted. It's going to be stopped, which is why it's in alignment with the 10 of Wands here. Followed by the Empress, the woman, the female. This is liberty. This is the Statue of Liberty. This is the United States. This is emphasizing the American president. It's emphasizing the American president. It's going to go through hard time. The American people are going to go through hard time. Specifically, the president is more so. The American people are going to stop on behalf of President Trump and the Trump administration. But the 10 of Wands just simply mean the American people will suffer while the collapse of Donald Trump is imminent. Here we have is the Lover's card. The Lover's card means unity. Remember I talked about how people from all different sides, Donald Trump is a unifying, unique figure. He unifies and divides, but he divides people against him, but unites people against him. This is the Lover's card. It's saying that the United States is going to undergo a realignment period within the American people, the American collective. And here you have it, the Knight of Wands. People will escape Donald Trump. The Knight of Wands here. The people will escape Trump. So Donald Trump is coming towards an end. The missile testing in the United States is just a personification of a weak leader. It's a personification of incoming damage to his administration. It's why a lot of dictators fail to hold on to power, because they create instability around the world because they are in this mode of revenge. But they don't realize that those people around the world that they are trying to scare have more power because they can provide sanction. They can provide a lot of hurtful things within the nation that's going rogue. And they could destroy the nation from within by creating such high instability. The people from within can rebel against the president because they have nothing left to lose. Think about it. If you only have, if you're angry and you're hungry, right? And there's only one person at the top, and the person at the top is not helping you, and you see them funding war but not funding your ability to eat, and you don't have a job, or you have too many debt or too many paying jobs, and you still feel that you cannot eat, who will you blame? You'll blame the person at the top, wouldn't you? Because if you have nothing to lose, if you have to work every day and still be hungry, if you have to constantly do all these things and still end up hungry anyway, did you lose anything if you just go out and fight for it? No, but you can gain something. And that's what the American people are going to start to experience. That is why dictators fail. This missile testing, although on the outer surface looks like something great for the Trump administration, when you start to look at it and you start to break it down in more historical detail, you start to see there's a pattern. The pattern is failure. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked today's video. Make the like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Until then, peace out. I love you.